All right, what's up, traders? What's up, tycoons? Super excited for today's video. We're going to talk about Palantir, one of everyone's favorite bullish stocks, and it's following the analysis very, very well right now, right? We got our wave one up, two down, three up, and then another ABC wave four, and we're looking to see if we can potentially hit some wave five targets to the upside. Basically, 22 to 26.65 is going to be the bullish price targets here, and we've got a nice gap up here to fill at $24. I think it's very possible we can do that. Now, there are some things we need to pay attention to short term, right? We've got a short term trend line here ever since the gap up on earnings. You can see our anchored VWAP from that recent earnings. We're basically right at it right now. And if we break that anchored VWAP, break this trend line and break support at 1911, very possible we can get a gap fill down from the recent earnings that we just gapped up on. So you do want to be mindful of that. We're going to break down the chart even more, look at the MACD, pay attention to a lot of those things. All right. And we'll do a nice in-depth analysis. So be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We had a really good trade on Palantir here recently. Okay. Highlighting, basically the short-term setup that we saw with our level here at 1920. And speaking about, hey, if we hold this level, you can set a stop loss very, close below and target the overhead supply or target the next bullish price target to the upside there. And you see how that trade played out very nicely. As always, though, the content provided on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. So be sure to read through the full disclaimer. All right. If you're new to the channel, I started a completely free newsletter called Investment Intelligence, giving out free, valuable finance content and free trade ideas every single week. This is what the trade ideas will look like, highlighting the chart conditions, right? Showing you guys the chart and going over the basics of the trade idea. Right. This is an example of one of the trade ideas highlighting the rising wedge, indicating what we're looking for as downside targets to the downside. And you can see how that trade played out very nicely. I try to put really high quality setups, really high quality trades in the newsletter for you guys. So that way I'm not just spamming you guys constantly with a bunch of, BS trades. Okay. So if you want those free trade ideas and you're fans of free trade ideas, free valuable content, and you want to get those straight to your inbox, sign up for the newsletter using the link in the description below, or you can sign up for the Investment Intelligence Discord. That's where that Palantir trade idea was posted last week. Okay. That was posted in the Discord. Promo code Black Friday, all caps Black Friday, one word, will get you in the Discord for a simple $1, right? So basically for free, you guys can get in the Discord. And, Carnival Cruise Lines was another really good trade idea that we had in the Discord. Okay. People are making 5 figures off of these plays. All right. And you can get access to all of the different trade ideas, for simply $1 right now using that Black Friday promo code. Otherwise, you can just sign up for the, free newsletter and you can get those sent directly to your email inbox. Now we'll go over the bullish price targets here. And we talked about, the 5-wave structure. Now the market tends to move in 3 or 5-wave structures, with your 3-wave structures being corrections. Okay. And those typically come in the form of an ABC. And that's what we got both times here, right? And so your 5-wave structures are the impulsive structures that typically indicate the trend, whether the trend is up or whether the trend is down. And here we're tracking a 5-wave structure to the upside, right? So we got our wave 1 up, and then Palantir has basically put in a flat for both of its, your wave 2 and your wave 4, right? Your 2 and 4 are supposed to be ABC corrections, right? And so we basically put in a flat here and we put in another flat here for our ABC corrections. And it appears we've started, wave 5. Okay. So, it's still developing at the moment. We'll see, but this could potentially be wave 1 here, 2. Wave 3 did hit the 1.618. So we'll see. Sometimes they extend all the way up here to the 2.618. But ultimately, we, as of right now, it stands that this would make a reasonable wave 5 target and that we could be potentially starting wave 4 pullback. Now, what's really interesting is we closed right above 1911, which is the 1.0 extension of the 1 to 2 of the wave 1 and 2 right here. So this is a really strong area of support. And if we hold above here, it's very possible we're going to get the rest of the structure to play out up to wave 5. Now it doesn't have to go all the way up to 26.65. Okay, this is just a rough target. It can overshoot and it can undershoot, right? 21.99 is already the 1.618 extension. We came up to that level. That was very nice. All right. Ultimately, I do think if we continue in this upward structure, we're going to gravitate towards the gap fill just under $24, right? It's like $23.90 or something like that. So basically $24. Now, all of these purple lines here are anchored VWAPs, right? And they're all anchored to the earnings, okay? So the different earnings, right? So earnings over here, right? Earnings over here, and then earnings over here. And then we also have one anchored to the previous high. And so, the way to use these is when price action is above all of these, this basically lets you know that the average buyer from all of these time periods is in the green. Okay. And these act as strong support and resistance areas, right? Institutions really use these anchored VWAPs a lot. And if you take a look during our ABC correction here, we never came lower and we always stayed above the original anchored VWAP from the earnings in the very beginning of 2023. All of these are rising along with our blue 200-day moving average right here. So the trend is definitely bullish. Now, does this mean that we can't break through some of the anchored VWAPs as we did over here? Yeah, it's very possible, but these are going to gravitate upwards slowly over time. And so if we do happen to break the anchored VWAP from our most recent, area right here, basically we've got three strong support levels, right? So we've got this short-term trend line. We've got 1911, and then we've also got our anchored VWAP. So three strong support levels, right? Buyers need to step in here to push up. Otherwise, if they break down, it's very possible we're going to head down towards this gap. Now, these gaps, they do fill about 90% of the time historically, but they can also act as areas of support and resistance. And if these anchored VWAPs are going to continue gravitating higher over time and we do break down, there's also going to be a lot of support at the top of the gap here, just under $18. So it would be really interesting to see for me, right, if we break down, find support at that gap and those anchored VWAPs, and then we start, to try to finish that wave 5 structure to the upside. Now, it is very possible that we end up getting the full gap fill. And again, these anchored VWAPs are going to be gravitating upwards slowly. So our anchored VWAP from the earnings in the beginning of the year will be right towards the bottom of it, along with the 200-day moving average. And that would also be strong support again. So, really in a worst case scenario, in my opinion, now, obviously that's not going to be the absolute worst case scenario, but let's say Palantir does tank in the short term, right? There's going to be a lot of buyers, basically right around that $15 level. Okay, so that is a pretty significant drop from here, but it'll be really interesting to see if we actually do come all down. This is definitely an area where I would look at potentially doing some swing trades, and it'll be a really good risk to reward setup. To re-enter into here, all right, and define your risk with a stop loss below, or however you want to manage your risk, right? So that's some of the things I'm looking at. Now remember, three strong levels of support, so we don't even have to break down. We've got a trend line, anchored VWAP, and 1911. We can just directly push up higher from here. Okay, the big thing you really want to pay attention to right now is going to be your MACD. Notice how this white line here is very close to crossing below the red line. That's typically a bearish crossover, a bearish MACD signal. You can see when it last previously happened, Palantir fell down, gravitated towards that anchored VWAP, right? Same thing over here. MACD crossover, fell down, gravitated towards the 50% fib right here. And, this is a common thing. So what really fueled and kicked off the rally was initially when the MACD crossed up above and had that bullish crossover, and then it had a really tremendous rally. All right. So here, just be cautious of a potential MACD crossover to the downside. Know that this gap can act as support with all of the anchored VWAPs. If we break through those and head towards the bottom of the gap fill, there's also going to be lots of support and buyers in that area as well. So right now, these are all of the main things that I'm looking at when it comes to Palantir. Right. Don't forget about that trade idea, right? We highlighted, showed you guys the risk to reward ratio, put a stop loss just below that level. We are long above that level. Okay, and you can sell in the supply zone here, the previous overhead supply, or at the targets up here, and you can see it actually played out very nicely with this candlestick right here, coming up exactly to that target before reversing and dropping back down below. That play was not in the newsletter, that was in the Investment Intelligence Discord. Okay, so that was one of the trade ideas recently in there. If you want access to all of those, use the link in the description to sign up. All right, I also do one-on-one coaching. So if you enjoyed today's analysis, or if you just have some questions, or maybe you want to learn a little bit more about options, different strategies that you can run with options, how to leverage the shares that you own to get risk-free hedges, and different things like that, You can use the Ko-Fi page, click on commissions, and you can book a 30-minute or 1-hour session directly with me. You can also click on this buy a coffee button. It's basically a way to leave a tip or donation for the free valuable content I do put out for you guys, right? Promo code Black Friday will get you guys into the intelligent investors part of the Discord. And it's only $1, right? So it's basically for free. Cost you guys $1 to get in right now. And, hopefully we'll see you guys in there. Right, the Discord is still pretty new. I think it's been up for close to 2 months now. So pretty excited about it and looking to, growing that and growing the community with you guys heading into 2024, right? And if you just want some, free valuable content and some free trade ideas that are really high quality, just sign up for the newsletter. Okay, there's a link in the description for that as well. And you'll be able to get those, free newsletters every single week directly to your inbox. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.